very warm welcome to this special discussion on NewsMobile. I'm Saurav Sanyal, and our big focus today is the death of one of the most dreaded gangsters of Uttar Pradesh, who had a free run for decades together, Vikas Dubey. And to understand the fine print, read between the lines, and try and find answers to the multiple questions that are coming to the fore, I have with me a man who possibly needs no introduction, someone who served in the police force in very senior positions for the larger part of his working life. I have with me Mr. Yashovardhan Azad, who's also been a special director with the Intelligence Bureau. So thank you so much for joining us on NewsMobile. Let's get started with what happened this morning. Vikas Dubey's news, that is something that India woke up to just when we thought that he would be taken for the judicial process to follow. Came in this news of one of the vehicles in that STF convoy which was carrying him overturning near Kanpur, and then Vikas Dubey, in a dramatic turn of events, trying to flee from the crime scene, trying to flee from the clutches of the police personnel who were accompanying him back to Uttar Pradesh from Madhya Pradesh, and then opened fire, and he had to pay with his life in that crossfire that ensued. Sir, your first thoughts on this?
My first thoughts are that here was a man against whom there are 60 cases pending in Uttar Pradesh. And for 7 days, he was running away from the police for some obvious reason, because he felt that in UP, his fate was uncertain if he gets arrested. And that is why this man surrendered at Mahakal. Now, whenever you look at a criminal, at a crime, you should look at three things: opportunity, means, and intention. Here was a person who surrendered at Mahakal. So there will be obviously questions raised as to why he would like to escape just before reaching Kanpur. Now, there are other questions too, but properly, I can only say that there is a protocol involved here, where after every encounter killing, there has to be an independent inquiry, magisterial inquiry or a judicial inquiry. And thereafter, the facts have to be ascertained, and then accordingly a decision can be given. But prima facie, I can definitely say that there are a lot of doubts being raised about this encounter, and it looks like it was more a revenge than a justice. Now, a man like
one
Vikas,
small interjection. You
yes,
are very categorical in calling it a surrender, that he surrendered to the police. Now, what we have been told, the official version is that it has been a case of arrest, that he has been arrested after the security guard at the Mahakal temple in Ujjain got suspicious. And then one flower vendor over there saw him remove his mask and then identified him as being the same man whose pictures were being beamed on national television. Now, sir, what makes you say that this was a surrender in the first place with so much of surety and conviction?
well, there were two advocates with him. And why would somebody go to a public place like this without arms when he's escaping from various places? Now, this is obvious that the whole conduct of the criminal, the whole operation as it has been described, and the whole hype which was created around this was not at all necessary. In fact, the biggest intention of this Vikas Dubey was that the press should be there before the police comes in. And that is why you see it was very, very opportune time for him. And somehow it became very coincidental that whenever he was shouting and saying that I am Kanpur Wala, everyone was there and there were many witnesses. And that's why I'm saying that it was not formally an arrest and it should not have been advertised as such. He came there, he went to the temple, people saw him and he was arrested.
Okay, so, from the time that the police could lay their hands on Vikas Dubey, let's put it that way, to the last couple of hours and what happened this morning when he died in that encounter. We have seen that on one hand, the politicians have been going all guns blazing against the ruling government. They are saying, especially from the opposition, are saying that, okay, the criminal is gone, but what about the secrets that he had been carrying within? Does Vikas Dubey's case, from your professional experience, does it, ring a bell when it comes to political patronage, cutting across political lines, cutting across party lines, the government patronage, because we do know that he got a tip-off from within the police force, and that is something that he has confessed to, and which in a way helped him plan that ambush on the night of 3rd of July, in which 8 policemen lost their lives.
Well, sort of, Vikas Dubey represents the sordid story, and especially in the Hindi belt, of the deadly cocktail mix of politics, babudam, and the police. Now, Vikas's rise in the 90s was because of political patronage, till he reached the zenith of his career in 2001, when he shot at a very important man from the BJP, shot him in the police station in front of 25 witnesses, and not even one of them gave the truth in the court. And as a result, he was freed. In 2006, when he was freed, this was the SP government. Earlier on, it was the BJP government. And later on, it became the BSP government. None of these governments can really say that they really made a lot of effort to bring this criminal to book. So it's obvious that he prospered because of political patronage. The second part, as to how he got information and the tip-off, is clear now, because the Chaubepur SHO, Vinay Tiwari, who's arrested, was colluding with him, and he gave the information. Now, these kind of mafia men have tremendous links in the rural areas and the villages. In fact, he shut off power. He asked the Sarpanch to build roads. Now, that is why the disproportionate influence which they exercise, the power they parade, keeps people under their awe. And therefore, they do a judicious act of helping out some people who are with him and grabbing and troubling the other set of people who are against him. So this is the story of Vikas Dubey, and I'm not surprised that he got a tip-off. But what I feel was something strange was that he had bitten off more than he could chew. How he could have the guts to kill about 8 policemen in the encounter. And that is why he was made to go on the run, and the police was desperately after him for revenge.
So many are saying that, this is essentially the police has been able to avenge the death of its 8 brave men. But having said that, does this encounter in a way also bring back memories of the Hyderabad encounter? Does this also bring to the fore the questions about dependency when it comes to judicial handling of cases? Does it also raise questions on, in a way, that how the criminal justice system now needs a fresh look if these cases were to be brought to a logical end?
You've asked a very, very important question. Today, Saurabh, the criminal justice system is in need of a crying reform. The criminal justice system is broken. It is broken because the judiciary takes so much time in delivering justice for whatever reasons, whether it's the lawyers who are delaying the case, whether it's the shoddy investigation or the witnesses turning hostile, the innocent dates are being given. The second pillar, let me tell you, the prosecution is absolutely fourth rate. If you go to the districts and see the prosecutors, they are not qualified. They don't offer any support. All over the world, it is a prosecution guided investigation. And that is why when the investigation is concluded, it's like an ironclad case. The prosecution says, here is the basis of an arrest. Here is the basis of a search warrant. Here is the basis of these seizures. They connect everything together. But today, the prosecution is under a babu, under a collector in a district. Today in 21st century UP, the collectors are fighting with SP over supervision of transfers of thanedars. And then you come to the police, where the investigation is shoddy because they are not trained. The forensics are in medieval era. So given this cocktail, this mix, the criminal justice system, unless it's given a boost, unless it's given resources, unless is given the real proper push from all sides, it cannot function. Now, you talked about the Hyderabad encounter. All I can say is that there has become among some policemen that the way out, because there will be no justice through courts, to get in this kind of a kangaroo justice, which is very, very sad. Because my last point is that Vikas Dubey deserved justice of death through courts, not through an encounter. And that is the sad part which you're talking about, the broken criminal justice system.
And that, I think, brings us to the conclusion of this discussion, because you touched upon a very, very important point: the pressing need, the crying need for reforms when it comes to the criminal justice system. Because unless we are able to once again establish or re-establish our faith in the criminal justice system, bring about the changes which are necessary, which are the need of the hour, instant justice possibly, we'll see many more cases coming to the fore going forward. Thank you so much, Mr. Azad, for sharing your views. But we can only hope that, going by what the family members of the slain police officers are saying, that they are saying, while on one hand, justice has been delivered, but one big question still remains unanswered. What about the secrets that are now buried forever, which protected Vikas Dubey all these years? Thanks for joining us on this discussion.